Hello friends, this is Mainak from Civil Center and I welcome all of you back to the 7th episode of CKDKMK, that is Civil के दुनिया के मजेदार किस्से. So friends, today we have a very special guest with us, Dr. Sanket Nayak. Dr. Sanket Nayak is currently working as an assistant professor in the Department of Civil Engineering, Indian Institute of Technology, ISM Dhanbad. So to give a brief introduction about him, he had graduated in the year 2005 in Civil Engineering. After that, he had completed his Masters in Structural Engineering in the year 2007. He had then received his PhD degree from IIT Bhubaneswar in the year 2014 under the specialization of Structural Engineering. He has over 13 years of teaching and research experience. So now let's move forward to his research, consultancy and teaching experience. He has published 23 peer-reviewed journal papers. And friends, his research interests include structural dynamics, earthquake engineering, seismic behavior of masonry structures, corrosion analysis of concrete structures, and also recycled aggregate concrete. He has also carried out collaborative research work in University of Windsor, Canada during June 2015 and with University of Surrey, UK during October 2016. So friends, presently he is involved in 3 sponsored research projects. Among his significant achievements, he has also received Institution of Engineers India IEI Young Engineers Award in the year 2018 to 2019 in civil engineering discipline. He has also carried out consultancy projects and he has conducted many short-term training programs for the practicing engineers and academicians for dissemination of research outputs. So friends, let's welcome Dr. Nayak.
So without wasting any time, we will have the pleasure of having him with us. So sir, I want to thank you for coming to our show and very good evening, sir. So sir, to start, so you have over 13 years of experience in research as well as teaching. तो सर हमारे viewers को बताएंगे कि आपका experience कैसा रहा?
So after my graduation in civil engineering in 2005, actually that time there is a market boom for the software engineers. In fact, in the computer science engineering, so many of my friends they joined in the software companies. So that time I thought that being a civil engineer, why should I join the software engineers? In fact, to be very frank, that time Infosys was recruiting a huge, and then Satyam, TCS, all these companies were at the boom, so they are recruiting huge. But I thought that I should not join there, I should go for the civil engineering jobs. But simultaneously, there was a chance, there is a question in my mind with this undergraduate degree, can I contribute really to this world that the scenario is demanding? So I thought that okay, I should go from some specialization. So then I joined my masters in structural engineering. During the completion, just before the completion of my structural engineering in MTech in structural engineering, there is a question that okay, actually should I continue for PhD or I'll join the industry or for the teaching? So people have always a question that if you have done the master's degree, you have to go for teaching. So anyhow, that time I joined very prestigious institution, now a very well-known institution, that is Kalinga Institute of Industrial Technology, and popularly known as KIT University that time. So it is one of the institution of eminence right now, doing very well. So that time 2007 I joined there. So just I have started my teaching career in 2007 to 2009. So some of my senior professors, I can name a few, like who has motivated me a lot. Professor Bhagavat Jena, he was there. Professor B. Jena sir was there. Yes. He was always telling me, man, you should go for the PhD. If you have to stick to faculty, if you have to stick to teaching, you have to go for PhD. Now, why you are wasting your time? Please go and join immediately. Then you come back. So I thought that okay, where should I go? So in that question was in mind. Immediately I saw some advertisement in IIT Kharagpur, because for the people of Odisha, we thought that this IIT Kharagpur is good. So I appeared there and successfully I was selected. but due to some personal reason, I could not join. And there is I was selected I was chosen for a particular professors, but I could not join because that professor has to go for somewhere for taking another responsibility. So I joined at IIT Bhubaneswar in 2009. So in 2009, IIT Bhubaneswar just started the first batch, because they have started in 2008 at IIT Kharagpur. The first batch student joined in 2009. They have started operating at Bhubaneswar campus. So in fact, there was nothing there in IIT Bhubaneswar when I joined, very few faculty members, and I was the first research scholars to join there. So many of my well-wishers, many of my friends, they told that why you are joining there is nothing, and you will join, what you will do, and you may not get so much of experience. But I thought that let us join. So that time there was 4 professors. So I joined there under 2 professors for my PhD. Then the laboratory was not set up. I have to take the challenge. So the young people, I can tell, if you think that you will not take the challenge, everything will be there and the tea is prepared, you have to take the tea. That is not the case. Sometimes you have to plan, you have to prepare, you have to create a scope for that. Then you will prepare, okay, there is hardship, but you will learn. So what was my experience in joining a new IIT? I can tell I can have the expertise in setting up the labs, because there are no other staff members there when I joined. So I have to help my professors for setting up the lab. The professor was good. Then I have the experience. Then when I thought that what should I do, the professor asked, in which area you are interested to work. That time I don't have any idea, but I thought that, sir, our Odisha is always a victim of these natural calamities. You tell the cyclones, you take the floods. So I thought that I should do something that will help us. In that way, I have chosen some things which is for the common people buildings. So I have taken the challenge and some pain, and there was nothing up to 2 years. I have thought that when my PhD will be completed, all these things. But after some times, I could successfully complete it, and then I joined at ISM Dhanbad, where the civil engineering department was just started in 2013. I joined here in 2014. Once again, the same story. New department. Once again, I have to join. Though the ISM Dhanbad was very premier and old institute since 1926, but still then when I joined in civil engineering department, it is very new. Once again, the challenge was there. I have to work out for the laboratory with another 2 faculty members. One of my senior faculty members was there in structural engineering. He helped a lot. In fact, he guided a lot to us. To me, in fact, for setting up. That was all about. Now I am here at IIT ISM Dhanbad since 2014 May, and I have completed here 6 years.
Sir, as you told, you have started everything from the scratches, like your during your MTech in IIT Bhubaneswar and also in your tenure in ISM Dhanbad. So, and also you told that your experience when your friends were getting placed in an IT company, you chose not to go there and remain in your field. So a lot of people do like that. A lot of people go, some people might go in different fields. So what is the motivation? What is important for a civil engineer or for any engineer?
People have to have this self-confidence upon them, and they are having a very lack of confidence.
Mm-hmm.
You see, the hard work will definitely pay you, and it may take some longer time. But if you are sincerely working, then you will definitely rewarded. But that time may be long. And look here, if you are getting something within very short span of time, then that will not last. So for longevity, you have to work hard, you have to work sincerely, and you have tried to improve your knowledge in different fields. Suppose you are working in civil engineering, that you will think that those days are gone, that you will work with this pen and pencil and have a drawing. Now you see, there are many drawing softwares, many 3D softwares. You can show your clients that if the building will be there, how it will look like, where the fridge will be fine, where the television set will be fine, how they will orient their beds, how they are orient their sofa sets. So these softwares you have to accustom. Simultaneously, you should be very strong with the fundamentals, the basic things. If tell anything, the subjects that you are going through during your second year,
Mhm.
third semester and fourth semester engineering students.
Mhm.
They are the very basic subjects. So if basic is fine, then that student can do anything. And you have to be deterministic. If you are joining civil engineering, you should stick to that. If you have to join softwares, then you go to that field. Then whenever you will join a software after having the BTech degree in civil engineering, then after sometimes you may think that what is the necessity of going for the civil engineering? So please think before that. And regarding the job scenario, every time there is construction, in everything in India is a developing country, so construction is at boom always. It will exist long time. For that, you should have some confidence, some fundamental, some basic design concepts, and you should be aware of the latest softwares that are available. But before using the softwares, you should know what is happening inside the software, because that is a black box. You will give something, you will get out something. You should know the fundamental things will be clear. That will give you success.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You said a very good thing that we should know the fundamentals before using any software. And so, my next query was regarding that. If any student wants to pursue as his career as a research scholar, so what are your advice for that? What is required?
Look, if there is a BTech students,
Mhm.
BTech in civil engineering,
Mhm.
before previously, now there is a scenario that a BTech student can join directly to the research PhD. But in my opinion, they should go for a master program. So in that, what will happen there, if they will go through a master program, they have to go through a number of subjects. So that subjects might not be covered during their undergraduate programs. So sometimes people will think that how that subject knowledge will help in research. That subject knowledge will give you the fundamental idea, also the advanced ideas in the master program. That basics of that subject or in-depth knowledge in that subject will help you in pursuing your research while you are carrying out your doctorate research or postdoctoral research after the PhD. So people have to be specific in which area you prefer, you stick to that area. Take a problem such that will the need of the hour, what the situation demands, how much applicability of your research is there in the field. Previously, people are thinking that anybody is carrying out research for publishing the paper. Nowadays, that scenario is not there. Your research should be applicable to the field. Your research should have some output. Your research should be a sustainable one. Your research should be for the beneficial of the society.
So regarding research, and I'll go back to MTech field. So when a civil engineering student completes his graduation BTech, he does his BTech, and after that he wants to go for his MTech. Then he gives competitive exams for that, and after that he has to choose his branch. Like there is structural engineering, water resource. So how to choose that branch, and should it be based on the interest or should it be based on anything else?
Look here, actually, in civil engineering, broadly you can tell that it is structural engineering. If a specialization wise, if we discuss structural engineering, then comes your geotechnical engineering, then transportation engineering, your water resource engineering. All these fields are there. So, and environmental engineering also. Every subject is important. Okay.
Yes.
And it depends upon the personal interest of a student. While you are pursuing your BTech, I was also pursuing my BTech. I was affection for some particular subjects that may be due to the way of teaching of a particular teacher. That may be. But sometimes some affections for a particular subject is due to that, okay, this subject is very easier. I can remember it very easily. That may be one reason. Or sometimes it may happen that, okay, this is very much interesting. I don't want to mug up many more things. Just I have to apply fundamentals, then I can do it. Or the way the teacher was teaching, that may impress you. So many reasons were there. You cannot tell any subject is important and other subject is very less important. That depends upon the particular interest of the student in every aspect of the civil engineering, whether structural engineering, whether geotechnical engineering, transportation engineering, or water resource engineering, or environmental engineering. Now, every subject has its importance. Now, the demand of this scenario, or now the present day demand, is multidisciplinary research. For example, a structural engineer can collaborate with mechanical engineering people. A structural engineer can collaborate with computer science people.
Yes, sir.
How? You will tell how. Suppose structural engineer thinks we are using some softwares, we are using some techniques for detection damage. Now there are AI technique you can use, artificial intelligence. How that can be amalgamated, so that there will be a collaborative research between two areas. So now there is a boom for the collaborative research. People have to choose which area he is interested. No area is having so much of importance and other is less. Don't think like that. It is the personal interest of the student, and it is the that actually in the undergraduate subject you might not have interest for a particular subject, but in a research if you lose interest and if you are pursuing your research on that subject, then that will be detrimental. You have to develop the interest for that one, because you have to go in depth. Once you will master, people will ask that, okay, this person is having some specialization, but once you are doctor, means doctorate degree, people think, okay, he is the boss for that. So in that way you see, whenever you are going to a doctor, I can tell in medical science you are going, a person is having MBBS degree, you tell, okay, he can treat many things. But whenever you are going to a person which is having PG degree, then you will tell that, okay, he is specialized in that particular one. Also there is doctorate is there in medical science, if you are going to that, it's more specialized. So that way you have to think. People will go means they will have a definite solutions, identification of problem and giving them proper solution will suffice the purpose, and people will have faith upon you. Yes, please.
Yes, sir. Sir, one thing you told I connected with very much कि आपने बोला कि अगर कोई स्टूडेंट का इंटरेस्ट है किसी फील्ड में, वो हो सकता है किसी टीचर का मतलब पढ़ाने से वो डेवलप हो जाए. It might be due to the teaching style of particular teacher. तो मैं ये बोलना चाहता हूँ, आपसे मैं पढ़ा था स्ट्रक्चरल एनालिसिस SA1 एंड उसके बाद मुझे काफी इंटरेस्ट डेवलप हुआ, तो मैं भी उसमें उस फील्ड में फर्दर जाके फिर एमटेक किया, अभी उसी फील्ड में भी काम कर रहा हूँ. तो नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन आई वांट टू आस्क रिगार्डिंग दैट इज कि आपने बोला कि जैसे हम लोग डॉक्टरेट के लिए प्रोसीड करेंगे, तो ड्यूरिंग डॉक्टरेट देयर स्टूडेंट्स और रिसर्च स्कॉलर्स फेस मेनी चैलेंजेस. इट्स अ रिगोरस टास्क कि मतलब बहुत सारा टाइम ऐसा होता है कि पेशेंट्स लूज कर जाते हैं. आपने भी बहुत लोगों को गाइड किया होगा फॉर एमटेक फॉर डॉक्टर्स, तो उनके लिए, उन सब स्टूडेंट्स के लिए क्या एडवाइस आप देंगे कि कैसे प्रिपेयर होना है कि so that they can face it and achieve the success?
Look here, whenever actually what happens in our scenario, the common trend that we think that education means we have to get a degree. Education means we have to get a degree and we should get a job. That is not the aim of the education. The aim of the education is train the mind to think. We have to train the mind, we have to develop the mind that should able to think the problem. So in similar manner, in the PhD, look here, whenever you are pursuing your BTech, you have to solve a problem for submitting for undergraduate thesis. In that, what happens? Most of the cases, the faculty or the supervisor will give you a problem, please do this. So you will just learn a software, you will do some experiments that you have not done during your regular experiments, then you will solve that problem and submit the thesis. That may be in undergraduate thesis, maybe with your friends too. Two persons may carry out one thesis in the undergraduate program. But in the master programs, what happens? You have to solve a particular problem. That problem will be identified by rigorous literature survey. So what happens? There are different ways of guidance. I am guiding PhD students. So what I did actually, I always tried the students. I tried to study the students in which area he is interested. I first try to learn from them. Then student will tell many things. But before carrying out the research, we should think that what are the facility available to carry out the research. I used to discuss with the students, look here, this is the facility available with me. This is the expertise available with me. But what to do? Can we change your problem? It is the thesis of the student. It is not the thesis of the faculty member. The student has to carry out the thesis, research. So what I do, if I will give him a ready-made problem as a faculty or as a supervisor, then their developing capacity of the student will be killed. Always he will be in a stage that, okay, I will go to my sir, sir will tell me. I always tell, look here, it is your thesis. So you please think, what can be done? So sometimes he is coming there, sir, I have to do these experiments. What is your objective? why you are going for these experiments, what you will get, what the literature suggests. In that way, student will have exposure to the way or what the world is heading. If he has to thoroughly carry out different literature study, then he can know what the world is going on. Okay, so in that way, the student can learn. If you will train him to think, then that student can do many things. So sometimes what happens for my student, what practice I am telling, for my students, we have to plan the chapters as different papers, because research papers you have to publish. So in our research world, there is a very popular saying, publish or perish. Either you will publish or you will be perished. So publish means I have to make them the paper-wise chapters. So first I have to try to develop the student's attitude, whether he is interested for the experimental one, whether he is interested for the computational one, or he is interested for solving the analytical problems. That thing I have to see. But in my opinion, while carrying out a research, a student should have exposure towards all the aspects. If he is interested for the experimental program, his thesis may comprise major part as experimental, but very small part as computational analytical. Because after completing this research, he may join in any organization where he may not get that chance for carrying out or developing his sophisticated laboratory. So he has to depend upon these computational things, analytical things. That aspect should be developed. That was my motto. And rest, once the interest of the student is developed for the research, his mind is being trained for the thinking process, then he will take care. And all the success I always try to encourage. If one paper is published, I try to congratulate my student. Hello, this is your paper published. He tried to congratulate, sir, it is yours. Well, I told him, no, everything is yours. So just try to make him fit so that he can challenge the problem. And after completion of the research, he can self-sufficient to attack a new problem. So what is PhD? In my PhD, it is an all-round development that the student can attack a new problem, that student can go for the solutions, and the student can do something. And the beauty of the research, you don't know where will be the end. At the starting, we don't know the result, because the difference between the research and experiment is, in case of experiment, you know the result will be there. For example, if you are going for the compressive strength of a particular cement, you know that this is the brand cement, this is this grade cement, the compressive strength after 28 days will be this much. But in case of a research, you are doing something else. You are adding that cement with fly ash, that cement with some other materials. You don't know what is the 28 days strength after this proportion. So that is the new thing. If the student can develop a attitude that, okay, you will be curious, there will be curiosity in his mind that what result is coming, then he will be fine. So initially what happens, whenever we are submitting a paper, that I have to see what is the result. Suppose we expect that we have submitted the paper, we have replied to the reviewer comment, what is the result? Most of the results will come in the midnight. That time I was seeing. But nowadays, my student was checking at 1 a.m., at 2 a.m., he will just give me a message in WhatsApp or a messenger. Sir, congratulations, our paper has been accepted. Sir, accept ho gaya. वो लिख देता है. तो सुबह उठ के when I used to see, I was feeling very happy that curious attitude has been developed with my student. I was feeling very happy. So that way. Yes, please.
Sir, you had told that during your PhD, you had chosen a topic which would benefit the people of Odisha.
Yes.
तो उसके बारे में आप कुछ बताना चाहेंगे कि कैसे आपने टॉपिक?
Actually, look here, when IIT Bhubaneswar was started, it was started behind Hotel Swasti Premium. That area is known as Samantapuri area. So in Samantapuri area, just whenever we will enter through the TV station, Doordarshan, that and we will go to this Samantapuri place behind Swasti Premium, we have to cross some slum areas. Okay, there are many people, they are living, the Basti people, they are living, they are having the houses, they are masonry houses, non-engineered houses, with pitched roof, tin sheet, asbestos sheet, all these things. So my professor asked, Sanket, what will happen to these people if flood will come? I told that, sir, in Bhubaneswar, this area, there will be no flood. Then he will tell, what will happen to the cyclone? So he told me, okay, look here, in case of cyclone, this height is very less, it may not create any damages. So what will be the victim? Now, bola, sir, if an earthquake may come with small magnitude, that may create problems. So he told me, can you tell how many people in Bhubaneswar or how many people in Odisha are living in this type of houses? Well, there are a lot of people, maybe more than 2/3. Because Odisha is also a developing country, a developing state. At that time, it was a developing state. We are just developing, and this you must have heard about this super cyclone that has damaged the economy to such an extent we cannot think. At least it took many years to revive. So we have chosen the topic like that. We should do some techniques for strengthening the seismic behavior of the houses of these slum peoples. So people, whenever we are discussing about research, people will tell about the multi-story buildings. Look here, in the multi-story buildings, all the engineering codal provisions we have taken care of. We are going for BI standards, we are going for European standards, we are going for the FEMA, everything that is implemented. But in the slum peoples, no code has been used. They don't know the code. They never know which type of cement they have to use, which type of brick has to use. There is no engineering. These buildings are known as non-engineered structures. When a small magnitude earthquake comes, it will destroy that. So I have thought something that, okay, we can do something for these people. Though Odisha is at zone 3, but you know there is a common thing that people think that if we are zone 3, we are safe. This zonation, it is not permanent. It depends upon the historical data. It may change. So what will happen, we don't know. So in Bhubaneswar city also there is some cracks whenever there are some earthquakes. That is known already on the paper. We have already seen this. So we thought that we should do something that should not require any technical manpower or any sophisticated equipments for its strengthening. And there will be no engineering involved. So that way we have chosen the improving the seismic behavior of unenforced masonry structures using some sustainable approach.
Yes, sir. So that was a very nice story and nice experience which you shared. Because PhD करते समय मतलब ऐसा बहुत कम लोग सोचते हैं कि मतलब मैं कुछ दूसरों के लिए मतलब बेनिफिट कर सकूं. सब सोचते हैं कि we have to publish paper and we have to finish our degree. तो बहुत ही अच्छा लगा सुन के. तो नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन मैं आपसे यही पूछना चाहूँगा कि उसके बाद हम लोग रैप अप करेंगे कि आप जो लोग अभी हमारे व्यूअर्स हैं जो देख रहे हैं, सिविल इंजीनियर्स हैं, थर्ड ईयर में हैं, फोर्थ ईयर में हैं, और they have graduated, they are thinking whether to go for a job, whether to go for a PhD, and अभी एक क्राइसिस सिचुएशन भी हमारा चल रहा है जो कि हो सकता है मतलब आप मतलब और 1-2 मंथ्स बाद वो चला जाएगा. तो वो सब बडिंग इंजीनियर्स के लिए आपका क्या मैसेज होगा? What will be your message for them?
Budding engineers, they should not lose their confidence at all. A confident people can do many things. Now Mahabharata serial is going on, so whenever Arjun loses his confidence, Lord Krishna he try to boost his confidence. Look here, Partha, you can do this. You must do this. You have to do this. So if that attitude is with the students, that much of confidence with a student, he can do things. This type of scenario will come. And civil engineers are always there to take the challenges. Civil engineers' job is not to sit in the AC room and to enjoy. They have to go to the field. They have to ensure that whether this bridge construction is fine, whatever design, drawing, detailing is there, it is being incorporated. The road, whenever the road construction is there, the design is incorporated. The material of good standard or the quality control is being controlled or not. Everything they have to see. If there is any natural hazards, it is the civil engineers first. They have to go there to help. Along, I accept that there are other engineers like electrical or communication engineers, their role is there. But civil engineers, whatever problem will come, people will go where? People will go inside the house. People will not come to the open field. So house should be proper. So civil engineers' job is always a challenging job. So they have to face many hazards in their life. So just they think that this is one type of hazard. Don't lose your confidence. Have the confidence. Use this time for learning. If you are getting some extra time, try to develop. Now there are many webinars going on. Many softwares you can learn from the internet. In fact, the students, they are much more advanced than us in using this internet, software, everything. They should learn there. And whatever subjects they have already studied during their previous years or during their initial periods, they might not have got to once again to relook it. They have to revisit it once again so that their fundamentals will be improved. And regarding the job scenario, they should not feel sad. They have to keep the hope. Both our central government, they are trying that they should do, our economy should be boosted. Many in India, all the states, their government is also trying to do that. There will be many cases that we have to develop the hospitals, many COVID hospitals, many things we have to develop. Different quarantine center we have to develop. There is the challenge for the senior. There will be placement. They don't lose their hope that they will not be placed, but they have to keep. They have to stay safe. They have to go for different softwares. They have to update their knowledge. Once you lose your confidence, then you cannot do anything. Just see Mahabharata. Always Krishna is boosting Arjun. Okay, please, you can do this. You can do this. So if you are unable to do this, if there is a very good saying, failure is the pillar of success. Look here, you will be, if you will not learn the lesson from the failure, then that again and again will visit you, that failure. But if you learn the lesson, if you will try to improve yourself, then you will be a successful person. Success is not a measure. Success is measured by others. It is the self-satisfaction, whether I am studying, whether I am contributing 100% to my field, am I able to solve all the structural analysis problems? People have to ask them. Am I able to solve all the problems related to soil? People have to ask. Can I draw all the shear force bending moment diagrams? That much of confidence when a student is having, they can do many things in their life. And whenever they are appearing the interview panel does not want to know that how the student is very quickly solving a problem. They want whether the fundamental of the student is fine or not, and whether the aptitude of the student is fine or not. If this is fine, if the student is interested, if he is interested to learn something, nobody can stop him. If he is not interested to learn anything, nobody can help him. So if you are interested, your fundamental and basics are strong, everybody is there to help you. If you may help him, you will not help him, he can find others. But there should be a curiosity in their mind to learn new things and to apply. And they should not be demotivated with the failures. All the big peoples, their failure will be there, but they have learned from their failures. That's why they are successful. So people have to update their knowledge. They have to effectively utilize this time. Then they will do good in their life. That is my opinion.
Golden words, sir. Golden words. So friends, अभी हम लोग सुने the story of Dr. Sanket Nayak, and we have learned so many things from sir. How to choose your career, how to make a decision when you are in an MTech, and उसके बाद कैसे hard work pays off, how to choose a subject in your research, and how to be a good research scholar, and how to be a good professor for your students as well. So इतना कुछ हमने सीखा, and last में जो message दिया उन्होंने मतलब बहुत encouraging message था, and ये truth है, क्योंकि one person who has over 13 years of experience in this field and who has done MTech and PhD from renowned institutions and is currently holding a renowned post, तो उनसे अगर हम लोग इतना कुछ experience gain कर पाए, इतना कुछ सीख पाए, तो हमारे लिए बहुत बड़ी बात है. And once again I want to thank Sanket sir for coming to our show and sharing your thoughts with the viewers.